We are now ready for the third and final session in our study in the book of Titus, chapter 3. I remind you now, keep your Bible open, follow word for word. You'll get far more out of it if you'll do that. And I remind you again about taking notes. The best thing to do is to take down different translations or definitions of terms or words. You don't need to write out the explanations. If you have the meaning of the words along with your Bible, then you will have the understanding of what is there. Now, remember that Titus has been left on the island of Crete while Paul went back to the mainland. And after a period of time, Paul addressed him in this epistle. And he's instructing him as to how to complete the job that he was left there to do. And he said, Titus, I left you there that you might constitute elders in every city. And he told him what the qualifications would be. And he said, also, I want you to be teaching things that would be conspicuously sound teaching concerning every age group within the assembly. And then he winds up by saying, Titus, these things you speak and continue to speak. You exhort or encourage, continue to exhort and encourage, and rebuke and continue to rebuke, and do it with all authority, with all imperativeness, and let no one despise thee, or let no one disregard thee in these things that you are to exhort. Now, chapter 3 says, but. He says, put them in mind. Now, in other words, he's saying to put in mind, remembrance, remind all of the believers in these things to be subject to principalities and powers. Now, he says, I want all the believers to be subject, to be submitting themselves, to do it and continue to do it because it's a present tense statement, present infinitive. To be subject, continue to be subject to principalities and powers, that is, to rulers and authorities. Whoever the rulers are over you governmentally, and whoever has authority or power over you, you be subject to those authorities. And as we've said in various times in the past, if we analyze this subject throughout the Scriptures, the only time as Christians we have any right or authority to disobey civil authority is when they command us to do things that God said you must not do, or they tell us we cannot do what God commanded that we must do. These are the only two occasions that we have any right before God as a believer to disregard civil authority. So he goes on to say, to be subject to rulers and authorities, to obey and continue to obey magistrates, that is, those who have those positions over you, and to be ready and continue to be ready to every good work. So you're to be prepared and ready to perform good works in every respect, whatever they might be, in every area of life. To be ready and prepared to every good work. In other words, he's saying that I want you to be prepared to always be doing good. So you do these things for a reason, to speak evil of no man. Now, you're not to be speaking evil of anyone. That means you're not to blaspheme, you're not to speak against. You're not to overlook or to slander or treat with contempt. You're not to disregard anyone. Now, it doesn't matter what they might be in authority or how obnoxious, how sinful they may be. So he says, don't disregard any person. Don't overlook them. No man or no one. And you're to be no brawler. That is, you're never to be contentious with people as a believer. But you're to be gentle. You're to have a sweet reasonableness of character and behavior in relation to them. And you're to be showing all meekness unto or toward all men or mankind. Now, the word meekness is not weakness. It's not that cowardly bowing back, yeah, whatever you say. But the word meek speaks of a submissiveness. It's a power that's under control, as Moses was a meek man, subjected to the things of God. So have a meekness toward all mankind. Now, there's a reason that we are to be in subjection to these magistrates and others that have authority over us. There's a reason we're to be kind to all people and not disregard them regardless of the sinfulness of their life. Now, here's the reason for it. for we ourselves, and the word we is in the emphatic position. For because we ourselves also were sometime foolish, or we were once without understanding. Now there was a time before we were saved that we were without understanding of the things of God as well. So don't be harsh with those people who are unbelievers. Don't run them down. Don't disregard them. Be kind and respectful, because you need to realize that you were there one time. We were one time not only without understanding, but we were disobedient. We were disobedient to the things of God as well. We were deceived, or we were deceiving. The word deceived is a present participle. We were deceiving others like they do, and we were serving divers or a diversity of lust or desires and pleasures. In our life before we were saved, we were yielding ourselves. We were serving a great variety of lustful desires and pleasures of the flesh and of the mind. We were living in malice. Now, this word malice is a word that carries the concept of a viciousness of mind that is opposed to humanity and opposed to fairness. So we lived in that fashion of unfairness to others and envy. We were very envious. We envied wanting to have what we wanted for ourselves, and we were hateful. That is, we were detestable in our manner of life. So people who are living like that now, you don't disregard them, but recognize that that's the way you were before you were saved as well,